I am tearing up.
I just about screamed right now, and I'm not even there.
Now that's inspirational, Natalie. I feel inspired today.
Part two of this.
I could be here for another hour.
And then I was at the top of my class. There were only 2 of us, and the other guy was in the hospital. So here I am.
And I always go, he winds up homeless on the street. It's my fault.
Yeah, now you sound like my wife.
And you can get off.
I don't know. Call it Google. Or call it Google.
Yeah. Control. Alexa, how does he get across?
Paul, I cut you off earlier. What were you going to say?
What?
Dang it! Don't do that to me, Paul. Don't do that to me, man.
I don't know what got into my head, but I thought this thought, if I'm working year round, I might as well get paid year round.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and subscribe today. Now, it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Hello and welcome to Sweet Talk. Today we have a special guest, Katie with the University of Idaho Extension Office. She teaches some of the extension classes here in Bannock County. My co-host Shirley is with me today. As you'll notice, typically this is hosted by Paul Dickey, but Paul's pretty busy right now. So Shirley has been kind enough to jump on with me. How are you today, Shirley?
Hey, I'm fine, though I could use a corner with a good book and a heater.
I think we all could. Well, today joining us is Katie Hickok with, again, the University of Idaho Extension here in Bannock County. Katie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I recently moved here from Northern California, from Chico specifically. And my husband, he went to ISU a while back and has maintained all of his friendships here. And so we were just in a little, we got a wild hair and said, let's move back and be with our friends. And then this job came up and we moved here for this reason as well. I am a registered dietitian. I studied at Chico State for undergraduate, my master's degree, and for the dietetic internship. I really love small communities and finding ways to enhance the community through the classes, through education, events. I don't know. I'm just excited to be new here, but I'm also really grateful to have these friendships already established through my husband.
Cool.
Well, can you tell us a little bit more about the extension educator position that you just took over?
Yeah. So it's a kind of a complicated position. So FCS, Family Consumer Sciences, is a big part of my job, and that's where the fun classes come into play. I get to really provide those programs that I'm passionate about, things like baby-led weaning, so introducing solids to 6-month-olds, nutrition classes. I recently did a class on like bulking up meat, like a meal with meat, by using vegetables or tofu, and that was a well-received class. I have several classes coming up, but that's the FCS, or Family Consumer Science, portion of my job. And then my other job is the administrator for Eastern Idaho's Eat Smart Idaho program. And that's a curriculum that we bring into schools, food pantries, aftercare sessions, aftercare at schools, and even Head Start programs. So that's a really great program that I'm learning more and more about every day.
Well, what's interesting is Shirley is over some of our similar classes. So we have like hobby classes. I wouldn't say they're as food related as you are. We do have some cooking classes, so it'll be interesting to see Shirley's take on some of this. How did you get involved with University of Idaho or hear about this particular position?
I was looking for a position that initially that had some flexibility, that I could use my education and background. So I applied for a different position. Actually, it was called the Community Nutrition Advisor, the CNA position, and it was part-time. It was very, it was like 24 or 30 hours a week, and I was offered the job. I signed the job, and I was asked to apply for this educator role, and that was fine with me because I had a little more opportunity to do more. But I heard about it like at many other people, like on Indeed, but we have an extension program through the UC system in California that I was kind of involved with growing up, and then as a student at Chico State. So I was definitely familiar with what extension did and what it can do for the community.
And then are your student numbers up or down from previous years?
I don't know. It's been interesting. Well, talking to other educators, it's been interesting jumping in after COVID and offering in-person classes because a lot of people they're used to staying at home or they're used to Zoom. So we're offering a lot of in-person classes just to get the community out of their homes and back to meeting each other. So I'm not sure what our numbers are, or specifically in Bannock County, but I think what everyone tells me is that it's very common to have smaller classes at the beginning, just so the community, like, they learn about you, learn about your classes, and then as I become more involved, people will join.
And we've seen that here at continuing education when COVID hit. We couldn't have classes. And then we started having classes in 2021, 22, the numbers were small, and we see that they're growing slowly.
Right. Do you do any like hybrid sort of classes? So do you offer Zoom with your in-person classes?
We have one that it's a Zoom as well as an in-person class.
Okay.
But normally our classes, people would prefer the face-to-face
right
type of learning.
Yeah.
I take that back. The apprenticeship programs that we have, they offer them as a Zoom and a face-to-face because some of our apprentices may not be able to get into class because they've got a job outside of town. So that's a good opportunity for them to still come to class.
Yeah, that's definitely a method I'm thinking about offering, is the Zoom, the hybrid method.
So we do have some that are slightly hybrid that might have a few in-person sessions and then some online. This is my first year here, so Shirley's such a knowledgeable human being for what we've offered. And again, Paul, who's over our apprenticeships, he actually started doing online classes before the pandemic for part of what Shirley was speaking about. Most of the students in the apprenticeship programs, or all of them, have a job before they enter that apprenticeship. It's like HVAC, electrical, etc. So those on-the-job hours are part of the requirement. And if they're in American Falls or McCammon or Ingham or somewhere that might just take them a little extra time, they may not have the ability to get here. And what's interesting is, again, he started these online classes prior to COVID, and he did it with a program called Zoom. So it was really
ahead of his time.
Yeah, so he was a bit ahead of his time. So when the pandemic happened, he was already kind of in the know with how to adjust this. But and Shirley can speak to this more, but I think people are wanting to get out. I think people are wanting to have some face-to-face.
We noticed that in our older community, we have a New Knowledge Adventures group, which is those are 50 years and older. And they are wanting the more face-to-face. they still offer their classes both face-to-face and via Zoom, but a lot of people they want that connection with other people.
Yeah. Yep.
And so what are some of the challenges in the industry on this same note, other than possibly coming out of COVID? What other challenges have you experienced in your short time that you've taken this role?
Yeah. We just had a conference the last 2 days, and I was able to meet with other FCS educators, and we were planning out our classes for next year. And we agreed to do the master preservation class. So I'll talk about that more in a minute, but when we were deciding on the cost of the class, that was hard, because I come from a place where I want to meet the people where they are. I want to have as many people participate in our class, but unfortunately the cost of food and the cost of jars, the canning jars, they're expensive. And so unfortunately what the price that we are offering won't even cover the cost of the food. So that was a big challenge, because I'm like, let's give it out for free. Like, come on, let's have a shadowing. Like, I was trying to figure out how to get students, like ISU students, to come to the class. And I know they don't have $75 hanging around to pay for a class like this. So I'll be offering scholarships through a fund that I have. So if there are ISU students who want to learn how to can or preserve food, I want that. I want to figure out how to get them in the class. But yeah, food costs, and resources, that's a big barrier or a challenge that we're facing right now.
Now, is that what I know? Recently, we found out about you. We reached out to you after we saw you in the Idaho State Journal, and it mentions that you teach fruit gleaning. And I have no idea what that is. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So gleaning is it's very common in California because we have so many fruit trees around, and a lot of communities would have a gleaning program. So volunteers would come and they'd go out to people's orchards and just they'd pick whatever was left on the trees. I've learned that a lot of potato farmers would invite the community to their farms and pull up any extra potatoes after harvest. So it's a similar concept, but it's more for backyard fruit trees. And it started when we moved here. We'd be walking around our neighborhood and I would see so many fruit trees just loaded with fruit, and I'd get very excited. So I love rescuing fruit. Like people back home would call me like the fruit rescuer. I'd have piles of fruit in my house and fruit flies. It was a mess, but I got the idea to, instead of bothering and knocking on the door at that moment, I could offer them a little door hanger and just put it on their door and just let it be. And I worked with the University of Idaho's design group, and we came up with this beautiful door hanger with information on if they want us to come pick the fruit, we would come to the house, pick the fruit, and then donate it to the local pantry. They're willing. We also invited them to call and express interest in a fruit preservation class. So if they want to learn how to dehydrate, make jam, do some ferments, they can call and tell us they're ready to learn a class. So I'm very flexible with my classes. If they not learn a class, have me host a class for them. I'm very flexible with my time. So if especially with fruit, it goes bad really quickly. So if in the summertime, if someone would call and say, hey, I want to learn how to make peach jam. Okay, let's have a class. It's kind of like a spontaneous class. And that is totally welcomed. And so they're invited to learn how to preserve the fruit from their tree, or else they can pick the fruit themselves, and then I have the addresses and phone numbers to the local food pantries.
So do you teach all of these classes yourself, or do you have outside instructors that come in?
I do them. I also am collaborating with Bingham County's Julie Buck. She used to have my position a few years ago. And so she's an expert with food preservation and has offered to support me for some of these classes that I may not be too familiar with, but I'm in the process of learning. But I am the sole educator for food preservation, yes.
And then the classes that you teach, it seems like you're very heavily focused on food and nutrition. Do you teach any classes where skills-based classes for employment, or are you mainly focused on the food and nutrition aspect?
That's a good idea. That's a good question. I'm more focused on the home, like the family dynamic. So getting families back into the kitchen, helping care providers prepare like healthy meals at home. So that's kind of where my role is focused. As far as preparation for the job market, though, that's not a bad idea, because I do have the culinary arts background. So I'll think about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We have such a wide variety of classes. It's interesting for us to learn about the classes that you teach. Of course, this is an extension office of U of I, and they have does that extension office of U of I offer other classes as well? Or are you the sole person here at the extension office?
Oh, no. So Reed Finley, he is our ag and horticulture educator. So he oversees Master Gardener. So that's a fabulous program that's starting in January or February. And if anyone's interested in becoming a Master Gardener here in Idaho, I encourage them to call the extension office to get more information. But I plan to join that class, and that'll all be offered over Zoom. Reed is he has a lot of projects going on. He offers classes regularly. He also is like the go-to person if people have questions about, oh, my hydrangea is looking like this, or my fruit tree isn't as abundant. What should I do? So people call in all the time asking about pests or soil. And he is just a wealth of knowledge. We kind of are right across the hall from each other. So he's always, I've learned so much from him already. And then our other educator, her name is Nikki. She is a part of 4-H. So 4-H offers tons of classes, but an after school programs. So we have people actually going out to the schools and offering great programs like robotics, cooking classes, public speaking skills. So right now we're getting our 2023 year planned, and I'm overhearing the 4-H group talking about all the wonderful programs coming. And so they're in most of the schools here in Pocatello. So whoever's listening and has kids in elementary school aftercare, I think will probably be there at some point.
I think 4-H is such a wonderful program. I was never in it growing up, but I grew up with a livestock. And I think that caring for those types of animals, and even some of the cooking or craft classes that 4-H may have associated with them, are just wonderful, wonderful programs for our young people.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's really interesting talking to you as well. We're running low on time. We've just got about 2 minutes left. If somebody was interested in taking a class from you, how would they contact you, and how would they get started?
Yeah, so I'm open to suggestions. So I scheduled out classes for November. I think I am taking a break in December, and we'll start up classes in January. So if anyone has an interest, a passion, or a desire for a class, feel free to give us a call. Our phone number here at the office is 208-236-7310. And someone in the office will answer, or I will answer, and you can sign up for classes that way, or you can leave a message for me. We have a great office staff, and they're also a wealth of knowledge. So I think our motto, it's not our motto. It shouldn't be our motto because everyone should know about extension. But people say that extension is the best kept secret because we have so much education materials that's research based, and most of it is free for the public. So come to our office. It's over in the fairgrounds, and check us out. During the summertime, I do pressure canning checks. So I'll check the gauges for pressure canners. Those should be checked every year before canning. And it's a $3 fee to have it checked, but it's essential for food safety. So,
well, thank you very much for your time. And thank you, Shirley, for co-hosting with me.
You.
We really enjoyed our guest, Katie, today. We've learned so much about what you do at the University of Idaho Extension. Please reach out to her if you are interested in taking any class from her or have any ideas. If you would like to reach us at Continuing Education, you can do so at cetrain.isu.edu or call our office at 208-282-3372. Thank you again so much, Katie. And everybody be safe out there.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.